It being 6 o'clock, I will call the meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission to order for March 26, 2024. We will go to item number 1, request for determination for 24 Island Road extension. Is it? Would you go,
Hello, is it my turn to talk?
Well, we're on, item number, 1, which is 24 Island Road.
Yes, I'm Greg Bonovitz, Borderland Engineering, here to represent the owner on the project. How is everyone?
Good, yourself?
Not too bad. So I can do a screen share if you want. I'm not an expert at this, but I can try my best here. Screen share button.
Okay.
Share this. So do you see the plan now?
Yes.
Okay. So we're basically doing a septic system upgrade to comply with Title V standards. Right now, the septic system consists of a older steel septic tank that's in poor failed condition that has a leaching pit down below the 50-foot buffer in this area here. This is Long Pond surface water supply, Island Road extension. So we're complying with Title V standards, installing a septic tank, pump chamber, up to and this is going to be a denitrification system, and it's going to be a special Presby leaching field that can be configured for the property and comply with the Title V standards to the maximum extent feasible. So yeah, as far as other conservation things that we're proposing, limit of work, proposed erosion control up to where we need to work, and no disturbance past that point.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing that I can think of at this point. I can try to answer any technical questions for you.
No. The only question is the leaching field going to be raised, or is it going to be level with the ground?
No, it's going to be level. It's getting pumped uphill, so we're above the groundwater table.
Okay.
And yeah, it's far enough above the groundwater table that it is not a raised system, but the property slopes down towards the lake, so it needs to get pumped uphill as far away from the lake as possible.
All right. Does any other member have any question? No. Oh. If so, I would accept a motion that we allow the activity under the negative determination number 3, that the work is a buffer zone but does not alter an area subject to the act. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion is seconded. All in favor, say aye. 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 Roll call.
Oh.
Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp. Aye. Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. The motion is passed unanimously. All right, folks, you'll get your paperwork in a couple of days.
Do you want that mailed to your firm or to the owner?
Probably to my home address. I most of the time work out of my house, so I can email that to you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Okay, folks. relatively painful, right?
Yeah, I just, I had a question, if you don't mind, out of curiosity, what's the normal setback from, an adjoining property for a system like that?
So the
Five,
title,
10?
yeah, the Title V standard, to property lines from a leaching field is 10 feet. We're, asking for a waiver from the Board of Health, to down to 6 feet from an adjoining property and then down to 5 feet from the town property, which is the right of way for the road.
Sir, I apologize greatly. I thought they completed business and I didn't mean to direct a question toward you that in some fashion could be interpreted negatively. So I apologize, but I do appreciate your answer.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great night.
Take care. Item number 2 is request for extension of order of conditions for 12 Forge Road. Is there any?
Yeah, right
You're
here.
there.
Do I go up or?
Yeah, the microphone's
Sure,
up here.
sure. You can come up.
Okay,
Thank you.
just over here, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so the Conservation
Just
Commission.
if you state your
Oh,
name.
sorry, my name's Asa. I work for Atlantic Design Engineers representing CVE North America, the applicant. The Conservation Commission voted to approve a WPA Form 5 order of conditions for a proposed solar project, 12 Ford Road, map 210 lot 137 on March 29th, 2021. The applicant CVE North America is requesting that the order of conditions approval be extended for the WPA, the Wetland Protection Act, for a period of 3 years from the original specified expiration date of March 29th, 2024 to a new expiration date of March 29th, 2027. This is due to interconnection delays seen at the utility level that a lot of different projects are working under. And so hopefully with these 3 years, we'll be able to solve that and get this thing built eventually. That's all.
All right, anyone have any questions? This is similar to other ones that we've taken up in the last few months.
Yeah.
So,
And haven't we agreed with, voted for the 3-year extensions for these solar?
okay, so I would accept the motion that we allow the extension for the project at 12 Forge Road. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that. Oh, I'll second.
A motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Margaret French?
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp? Aye. Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Motion passes. Item number 3.
Do you want to mail that up to your office?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I discuss and vote on warrant article request for land transfer, 0 Weedamo Heights. As I think everybody remembers, a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago now, I guess, David Rosa was before the commission with a request that we may support a request for a land transfer for a piece of land off of, I believe it was Matawa Drive. In the area off of Howland Road. I looked into a little bit with Victoria and Nicole, and he wants to get a piece of land so that he can have better access to a piece of property that he owns that is adjacent to a area that the Conservation Commission has control over. I would recommend that we advise him to contact the Board of Selectmen. It'd be more of appropriate request of them than us. Whether we would support in the end is another thing, but it's something that it's gonna actually be kind of complex. The land was taken originally for tax title, and it was transferred to the Conservation Commission. And I think that there's a much more involved legal issue than he proposed to us in his talk with us. So with that, that's what I can tell you. Anyone has any comment, that we're open to that.
I think until we hear from the attorney and we can find out exactly why it was taken in the first place, I don't think we should take any action. And I agree, it should probably be kicked over to the selectmen.
All right,
Okay.
Pete?
I don't want to interrupt if someone has something else to say.
No, no.
I just wondered when my turn might be.
What are you here for, sir?
That I.
Oh, okay, are you Mr. Rosa?
I am.
Okay, I didn't recognize, I
Sorry.
think you had a beard, but, all right, well, you can speak, but our problem is, for one thing, is that the land was taken originally for tax title. And, so that, it's not just a conveyance. There's some murkiness in the water, so to speak, there. And I don't know exactly what you want, the piece of land that you wanted to take. I know you pointed out a little bit, but the plan you had was the old prior Weedamo Heights subdivision plan. And that has been kind of erased, I guess you could say, because of what transpired with the tax title and so forth. Go on, Mr. Rosa.
Okay, so, why I approached the Conservation Commission, I was, and I was looking for their support, and I still am. Not so much in terms of taking a particular action that resolves the problem, but I was looking for your support in the sense of you recognizing, some injustice has been done, and the fair thing to do is support my proposal that the town return to me the property that they, as you say, took under tax title action. And so that's what I was looking for, the commission. I was not looking for them to do something outside their bounds of whatever it may be cited in their commission. I can only relay to you a couple of things, but first of all, at our last meeting, I was told that the commission was going to seek guidance from the town attorney, whoever that may be. And so that hasn't happened, as far as, at least it's being relayed to me right now. So that the fact that didn't happen may not help clear up the waters. So I'm going to, if you don't mind for a moment, try to describe it as I understand the situation. And I hear mention of Weedamo Road and whatnot. I think of the property as identified from the taxes and the description on the taxes that I pay on the property as related to Jacob Mountain Road. Just for a little bit of, I don't know if I'm helping with the confusion or adding to it, but just, I look at it through slightly different terminology, which helps me understand it maybe differently than you do. But that aside for a moment, has it, based on my inquiries to the town and based on my contract with the town regarding the land that is some 28 acres at the end of Jacob Mountain Road, which, yes, there was a tax title event, but the tax title event that affected the previous owner, which was my uncle and my cousin Joseph, and I inherited the estate, if you will. So then it all fell to me to resolve the matter and many other matters. So the town took a a lot, what some people might describe as a typical building lot, because that individual either didn't want it, wasn't paying their taxes, whatever it was. But adjacent to that was a small piece of a paper road, described as a paper road. There's no road there. It's a wooded area. They, at the same time that they took that other person's lot, which at the moment I have no interest in, they took this other piece described as a paper road. That intruded onto my property. And that's where the complexity is, how to undo that. So there's a couple of different ways to undo that. And I came to the Conservation Commission on a very practical request that you place this item on the warrant for the people of the town to vote on at the next town meeting. So that was a practical and doable step and didn't require any particular judgment on the part of the commission. So I would offer up that that option is still in front of you. Now, putting it on the warrant, from there, the commission would have three options. One, because I assume for a moment at an annual town meeting that when an item comes up on the warrant, there's some discussion and there's some turning to committees, members, saying whether or not they support or make no recommendation or don't support. Is my sense of how things normally happen at a town meeting. And this helps the people in the meeting get sort of understand merits of the item on the warrant that they're being asked to vote on. So the first thing is I wanted to get it on the warrant. A very short practical path to doing that was to recruit your assistance. And you have obviously some vested interest because it's currently classified as conservation land. And so that would be a friendly act between the Conservation Commission and myself to help me resolve the matter. So I suggest that option's still before you. Now, whether or not you exercise one of the three options at the town meeting, again, I think you would be asked, do you recommend, make no recommendation, or not recommend that the town people vote in favor of returning them? So that's a separate matter, and that I understand is something you may want to discuss amongst yourselves. But for the audience, I came before the commission to look for a very practical and short path to getting my request on the warrant. So I'll wait to see if you make that decision or not. I do have to turn in, I have an alternative to that, and I have to turn in that paperwork in a fairly short period of time. So now for the audience, I've already described how this piece of land became a bit a bone of contention, if you will. So the problem here is, and this is going into research at the town with town officials, and they described how that piece got taken, and it's described in the documents of the town and when it happened. The taking of that paper road portion was taken after the property had changed hands. Ownership had changed. So there's two problems. One, the town reached in for whatever reason and grabbed a piece of property that was not, I can only tell you my interpretation, doesn't seem to be their original goal. Their original goal was after a piece of property, a buildable lot, where the taxes have been paid. I'm not saying I have any heartburn with that, but somewhere in that mix, they reached over and grabbed this piece that was described as a paper road. So, but they did it after the fact, after the property had already changed hands. So they're taking, it's my position they're taking was inappropriate at that moment in time. Now, so how do we undo that? Well, there's couple of ways to do it. Some are very long, convoluted, expensive paths. Other paths in dealing with it are a little bit easier and within the hands of the people of the town. And one of those is to get it on the warrant, allow the people to vote at a town meeting. Now, for a lot of reasons, I'm asking that I would, when it happens, I'm gonna ask that the townspeople support me in recovering that piece of land and one is a fairness issue. But if we deal with the fairness issue and return it back to me, withdraw any claim of that paper road, described small piece of paper road, then that's the shortest, least expensive, easiest path out. And so that's what I'm trying to accomplish. And I was just hoping to recruit your support in getting it on the warrant. So I don't know if you want to take a vote now, make a motion to vote on that now, or if you feel like, I don't know how that, if you voted to say, yes, we're gonna ask the town clerk or the town manager to put this item on the warrant. I don't know how that compromises any of your interests, but somehow isn't a reasonable move on your part.
Okay, Mr. Rosa, I understand your dilemma, so to speak here. And I think the commission does. But I don't think it would be appropriate this time for the commission to take a stance on it. Because we are not, you need to speak to the Board of Selectmen, the town administrator, and for them to decide whether or not they want to approach town council. We as a commission can't involve town council until the Board of Selectmen has allowed us to do so. All right, we can't just fire off, a request from town council. So it has to go before the town administrator and the Board of Selectmen. And the other thing is that at this point, to say, to take any of your options, I understand that we all can say, we're not gonna take action here. But because of the potential complexity of the matter, of how it was taken, how it can be given back, I don't think it's appropriate for the Conservation Commission to get involved at this particular time. You do have the ability yourself of requesting that an article be placed on the town warrant. Even, just because you're a property owner or an interested matter in this. So I think that it would be better to pursue this with the town administrator and the Board of Selectmen instead of this commission. We'd be kind of outrunning our headlights, so to speak, if we were to get involved at this particular point. All right. That's my opinion of what is happening here right now and what should be done. If the board wants to, if the Board of Selectmen wants to defer to the Conservation Commission or get input from them, we'd be glad to do that. But to bring out, to do what you request right now, I think would be, I'm not gonna say inappropriate, but kind of like I said, outrunning our headlights without some guidance from town administration and the legal counsel.
Sorry, can I ask you what your interpretation is? Can you verbalize what your interpretation is of my request?
Well, I mean, I would say, I don't really have enough information what went on. For one thing, to say whether or not I personally would be for or against it.
So I did, all right, so I'm gonna help you out with my question to you. My question to you was, in the interest of fair play, would the commission put on the warrant this item?
Um. I guess you have to define fair play, and that's where that's one of the big stickers is here, you know. Everybody has their point of view, and I'm not saying that your point of view is wrong and, you know, at all.
I
Okay,
understand.
I'm just saying, you're coming, you wanna sell us something. No matter, you know, how we look at it, you wanna sell us on something. And to say at this point whether you're correct or you're not correct, or whatever. I have no clue. As, you know, legal balance.
So, I will take your advice. And the advice of other officials in the town.
Mhm.
And go down the path of doing the paperwork I need to get it on the warrant. So with that
That's
aside,
your option, yes.
now I'm gonna ask you one or two other questions.
Mhm.
So currently, the commission has under its oversight a certain number of acreage in the town.
Right.
correct? So, now, the members of the commission can use the fact that they have whatever the amount is,
Mhm.
has sort of if you will, loosely described bragging rights that we have accomplished oversight of, you know, we've helped this happen on behalf of the community, roughly speaking. Is that true?
Well,
I mean, and it enhances each one of yours resume, right? That you had oversight over a certain amount of.
well, if your question is. Are we worried about the acreage or the land or the amount of land that we have control over under conservation? My opinion, and I'm only speaking my own opinion, any other member can state their own opinion, is that would be irrelevant. What,
Why, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, it's irrelevant as to.
Is it irrelevant to my particular circumstance?
What I'm saying is that this issue and the amount of land involved would, the amount of land or the
For
fact,
the whole town, for all of Freetown?
I mean, the amount of land that this involves is rather minor.
No, I understand, that, but
involved.
I'm saying, generally speaking, you have so many acres of land in Freetown
Mhm.
under your oversight as a
Right.
concept, true.
True,
And you're able to say at meetings or in literature or on the website that you have this much acreage. That you have oversight of this much acreage of conservation, correct?
true.
All right, now, and that goes to your credit, your reputation, your resume in the town, right? I mean, it's to your benefit.
I suppose you would
All
say
right,
that,
so
yes.
this, all right, so here's the dilemma, I think, it's a little bit in the background. Maybe it's slightly off to one side, but in the background for the Conservation Commission. If you don't mind me getting up more, but towards you for a minute, I won't make contact. All right, so I just want to give you an example. So let's say this pen right here,
Mhm.
and somebody takes this pen away from you. It's your pen.
Mhm.
And they take it away from you. And they come over and they give it to this person here,
Mhm.
and they say that person, but that person makes use of it in some way to some advantage for them, right? So they have in effect made use of for their benefit stolen property, right? So the only right thing for them to do, once they become aware of that, is say, look, I never intended to acquire or make use of stolen property for my own benefit. Now that there's being any notification, I want clarification until such time I return that property to where it came from, and I'll wait for someone else to make a decision in a fashion that's where the members of this commission are. you have had placed into your hands by questionable means, property, an asset that actually benefits you by what I believe to be illegal means. And that now you may never have committed the theft, but you certainly are benefiting from it. So that's a position I personally do not want to see the members of the commission in.
Mhm.
And they have an opportunity to step back from this a little bit. I was hoping that the commission would notice that, but for whatever reason, it hasn't quite come to the surface yet. But let me tell you that the thing, yes, it is convoluted. But for whatever reason, how somebody took this piece of paper property that intrudes on my property is of not a great deal of interest to me. That the error be corrected is of interest to me, because I am harmed by that inappropriate taking. And the first point in time that we see when the taking is inappropriate is the timing of it. There was property, there was a purchase from one person to another. After that, the town took that property when they were trying to take action against somebody else. Now, that's not something that you and I can solve right here. And again, the clearest path and the shortest path and the fairest path that I can see, and the first path, is we bring it before the town. Now, I've been advised by elected, respectable members in the government of Freetown to go down the path of putting it on the warrant. I accepted that guidance. I have worked on the paperwork. I'm ready to proceed. But for future events regarding conservation land, I was hoping to recruit if not the enthusiasm of the commission, at least their neutral position in the matter. But if you don't, if that's somehow or another beyond your reach, then okay.
Okay, all right. So on that, when you say us taking a neutral stance, I believe by what we're doing here tonight, and to say that, we're not going to be presenting this article. You're gonna have to do it, but
Okay.
we are keeping to the neutral. That would be my point of view. Okay, and any other commissioner can speak on that also. I think we're being neutral. I say, okay, we're not, at this point in time, we're not being opposing your view,
Okay,
but neither are we going to say we will be for your proposal. I think we're by taking no action on ourselves and saying, you're gonna have to speak to this with people who are of higher authority. I think we're staying neutral. I mean, that's how I feel.
okay. Well, in ending my discussion part of this, probably everybody's going, thank God, but anyway, I just want it to be remembered that I came here more or less with an olive branch in hand. And that is still extended to the Conservation Commission and more or less to the town. Because I want to resolve this in a friendly, reasonable manner. That is at the heart of my action.
We understand that, Mr. Rosa, and I'm in a way, I'm sorry that we can't be of more help, more assistance to you, but I think that, staying neutral is the best for this commission. All right,
Okay,
good luck with your proposal, and hopefully we'll work out to the right view.
okay. Thank you. And appreciate your time and whatever efforts you put on.
Okay.
Does that conclude my activity
Yes.
on your
Yes,
agenda?
yes,
Thank you.
take care.
Are you gonna-
Before I leave, is there any other members of the audience who had something they wanted to say or question they had for me? I don't want to leave the room and then there'll be this other discussion.
No,
Okay,
it matters though.
Are you gonna take a vote to recommend it to be deferred to the selectmen?
I don't know if we're gonna.
No, I was just wondering.
Does anyone feel that we should take a formal vote to defer it to the Board of Selectmen? I think, you know, I don't know that it's a formal act, we need to take a formal action.
I
But-
don't think we need to. It was a proposal brought to us, and this is our answer to the proposal. I don't think it's a votable action.
I concur.
okay,
You take care.
all right, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item number 4, discuss and vote on South Main Street replacement options study. Victoria, do you know? Do they want us to take a formal vote? Or is it were they, to your knowledge, were they requesting that we look at it from just conservation or?
Yeah, from conservation point of view, they do want a recommendation.
Okay. All right, I'll open it up to discussion. Anyone want to speak their mind?
Wasn't there 3 different options on the 3?
There was, but that depends on the severity, like the actual severity of the bridge. So I don't think that can be determined at this time.
Until they rip it open?
Basically, yeah, that's my understanding at least, you know, yeah, I think planning board was leaning toward option 3.
And wasn't this just a plan? I mean, they weren't planning on doing this right away. They was just looking for a plan. So that if something happened, they would have everything ready to go.
Right,
Yeah, well, I think the plan is to get it ready and have everything and start working towards it before there needs to be a weight restriction, before something terrible happens, you know what I mean? So I think we're just trying to be proactive. So I think after this is decided, I think the next step is to try to secure funding to actually do the work.
So the way it stands right now, there's a crack, they're keeping an eye on the crack. If
Right.
the crack starts moving, they have to replace the bridge right then and there. So instead of waiting for that last moment, as Victoria said, let's get all the plans up, let's look at the costs, and get everything prepped so that we don't have to wait till that last minute. And now I think option 3 from a conservation standpoint seems to be the one that has the least impact or the least permanent impact on the area.
that was the conclusion of the report, that
Yeah.
conservation. All right. So Margaret, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you
Okay.
of the opinion that would you be making a motion maybe even that via the conservation issues that could be raised by replacing the bridge, our recommendation is option number 3?
Yes, that I motion that we consider option 3 as the least impact from a conservation viewpoint. How's that?
All right, fine. And Victoria has it. All right, would you make a motion that way?
So I made that motion, yes.
Right, the motion has been made. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
I'll second that.
Okay. A motion's been made and seconded. That we recommend to the Board of Selectmen that option 3, looking at it from, paraphrasing here.
Mhm.
or through conservation concerns. All right, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Margaret French,
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp. Aye. Says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. All right, so we'll give him that input. Item number 5, discuss and vote on conservation agent consultant job description. Everyone get a chance to read the job description?
I did, yes.
Anyone have any need or desire to put any input? Anything added or removed or anything like that?
I think it was pretty thorough.
Redo the wheel. All right, I'll accept a motion on that item. That we accept the conservation agent consultant job description as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I will
Motion.
second.
Motion is seconded. Margaret French.
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp.
Aye.
Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. If I could just add as we do it, we might want to send, I'll do some research too, on conservation agents who might be employed by towns in the general area that might be possibly interested. I see like Carver had a position advertised for like 20 hours, and Halifax had a similar position for like 28, 30 hours. And so I'm thinking that a lot of these conservation agents, pardon me, are not, working 40 hours. And maybe if we send them letters, recruitment letters, we might be able to get a little bit more of a response than just advertising. The other thing that we want to do now is how are we going to advertise it? Do they have a policy
The board
in the
select-
town? Yeah, the board of selectmen.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on their policy. I know we appoint our own employees, right? So I think we can post and advertise.
Would you look into doing it on the Mass Municipal?
Yes, I think I put a note in there about that. And also, the MACC has a job board as well that's specifically for conservation professionals.
Okay.
So it might be worth posting on there as well.
Yeah, because more direct than advertisement, just a posting.
Mhm.
All right, so everyone feel that that's a good idea to do it by these special jobs more than just general.
Yes, do we also want to post it on on the town website?
Yeah, that goes up like automatically.
Oh, okay.
I'll job post it.
All right, did I do a motion yet?
No.
All right.
Well, suppose if you want to post a job, I don't know if you need a motion.
Oh,
Like a
no,
motion.
no, I don't think we need it.
Oh, okay.
But, all right, item number 6, discuss and vote on land fund warrant article for the annual town meeting. And so the proposal before the commission was to put an article on asking for $30,000 for the fund for the fiscal year 24-25. And what I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in here. My thing is, okay, if we put the article on, if it passes, it passes, if it doesn't, it doesn't, or if it doesn't get to be put on the warrant. But I don't think it's a big expenditure. And it's not something that's gonna be spent in the foreseeable future. It's not something that we have designs on in the next year at this point. So my own opinion is, put the article on and we'll see what happens. But I'm curious as to anything else anyone else has to say.
I would go with that, put it on and see what happens.
Okay, Margaret?
I'm willing to go with that.
Okay, all right, you know, it's something that it's an investment, you know, I don't know that who knows if we're ever gonna even use it, but, yeah, the funds would be there. All right, I'll accept a motion one way or the other.
I'll make a motion, to put it on the warrant.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to request an article for $30,000 for the land fund. All in favor, Margaret French?
Aye.
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp? Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Item number 7, vote discussion online permitting article for the annual town meeting. And that is basically just a procedure, right? It's part of the plan already for other,
Yeah, for other, departments to get on it, building and health are already on it. Planning is going to submit an article as well, to get online permitting, funding through town meeting. So yeah, so it's the direction, we're moving.
would it be good to, if planning was so disposed to kind of do instead of having another article, Article 1, planning, Article 2, conservation, if we tied them together, or would that?
They did already, like we already submitted our article for
Okay.
planning, but I mean, I don't see why it couldn't be amended, right?
Yeah.
To put it on one article.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know.
So we already talked about, and I know, Victoria, you talked to Matt. After,
Yeah.
I think it's May 15th, we
Yeah.
can, oh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
After, I think it's May 15th, we can put in budget transfers from line item to line item. We
Mhm.
have in our budget 25,000 for a conservation agent that we're not going to use.
Mhm.
So why don't we just transfer that money into the line item for professional services or whatever it's going to go under and just use that money?
So if I may.
Yes, yes.
So
Yep.
just the reason why I was presenting this to the commission, so I know that had got brought up at a previous meeting, but because we're moving forward with trying to get someone, you know, as the agent, I just wanted to make sure we were covered and we had enough funds. I would hate to see, I know the odds are probably slim, but I would hate to see us use up some of that funding for the Concom agent and then not have enough to pay for online permitting. And then we either have to wait or, you know, whatever the case may be, or try to request more fundings from other sources. I don't know what that procedure would be like. So this was more just like, just to make sure we're covered, but I mean, if the commission's, it just wants to wait it out, we can certainly do that.
Okay. Okay, Margaret, the
Yeah.
$25,000 would be in this year's budget, right? That's what you're
Yeah.
talking about? Now-
FY24. Yeah,
So, but online permitting, wasn't it, been set back basically? When was the ability to go on the online permitting going to be able to be done by conservation and planning?
Like, once we contract the
Okay,
company, you mean? Or where do you-
yeah, maybe I'm hallucinating here. But I thought that we had talked about it and you had said that we couldn't do it until a later date than we had originally kind of proposed.
I think it was because at the time that they wanted Board of Health next. If that's what you're referring to, like why, like they want one
Yeah.
department to kind of go at a time, but because I do all of the land use departments. like, they're okay with us trying to do all that.
Okay, so
If that's what-
we could, if we had the funds, in quotation marks, we could do it tomorrow. Oh, okay, all right, and do you know what the cost would be for the?
So it's a little bit under $20,000, but there's some like, at least for the startup costs, and then to pay for that first year, the annual fee. But then there's a few like, what's the word I'm looking for, like add-ons, like payment and online payment integration, which of course is part of the reason we want online permitting, right? Is people to do online payment, so that's another fee. So there's a few of those. So the 20,000, I think, should be more than enough.
All right,
For all of that. Like I said, if the commission doesn't wanna put it on, I was just nervous, I wanna make sure we have enough funding. I can't imagine we wouldn't through budget transfer request, but
okay, so,
Just some fast math. If we take 20,000 of that 25 for the agent, that will still leave us 125 hours
okay,
for an agent at $40 an hour.
okay.
all right. Okay,
Also, I mean, where are we? Do you know, Victoria, where do you guys lose power? There you are. Oh,
It's the motion sensor.
wait, we're barely
go.
here.
where are we in our own budget in all the different lines? Like, if we had to, could we just move stuff around?
What, I mean, I don't know the procedure for how to, like, I know, I'm pretty sure you can't, I don't know, I'm not too positive on the procedure of moving. funds
So-
under items.
Right,
That's what
I
I'm
know
trying to.
that
the
accounting is
answer
pretty,
is on.
pretty strict about that. That's something I could get more information on. If we don't have to put this on, and we can see how it goes, and then for October, maybe we can request it. It's-
Okay,
Well,
you
no.
don't have to go ask for anybody else because I would be the one. So my professional opinion right here is that I don't think we're going to hire an agent and have them work more than 125 hours before July 1st.
right,
Okay,
I concur, because we wouldn't be, let's face it, we're not gonna. In reality, we wouldn't be able to hire anyone procedurally wise for 6 weeks here now. Because we're gonna be putting it out, you know, until filled. So if we, the most we're gonna do is probably get some applicants. And then the next if we were able to, the next meeting, 2 weeks, would be, okay. How are we gonna go about the
Mhm.
hiring process and how we get, that's gonna be another 2 weeks, so at the most, it's gonna be 2 months. So I go along
that'd
with
be
you.
fine. Okay, just
We
want to
can
make sure.
transfer the money from the agent account to do the online. All right. Steve, anything? Want to add, or,
No, that sounds fine.
all right, shall I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
What do we motion?
To do the budget transfer request.
To do the budget transfer request.
So I think the motion should be that we fund the online permitting through or by the conservation agent line item.
Would it be all right if we set up to not to exceed $20,000? So we have $5,000 in our back pocket to pay any agent.
Do we need to? Do we need to say that?
Hmm.
I mean, you don't, don't need to, I mean, I can keep that in mind as we move forward.
Right, just kind of keep an eye on things. Um,
All right. We're informal tonight.
So
Uh,
Margaret,
no, I'm just, it's cleaner to say we're going to fund online permitting from the conservation agent line.
Okay.
And then when we hire that agent, if we run over on time, then we will get the money elsewhere. But I don't think that part has to be part of the motion. We will just take care of that later on.
All right, works for me. Why worry today about what might happen somewhere along the line? Works for me. All right, Margaret, will you just, so is that your motion, or do you want to add
That's
any?
my motion.
Okay, all right, motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made and seconded, all in favor, Margaret French.
Aye,
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp.
Aye.
Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. All right, item number 8, minutes for February 26th and March 11. Anyone have anything they see askew there or anything like that they want to add?
nope, they look good to me.
All right. May I hear a motion?
Oh, I
make that-
motion to accept.
The motion has been made, motion has been seconded, all in favor? Margaret French.
Aye,
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp.
Aye.
Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. All right, any other business properly to come before the commission? No,
nope,
hearing none. I will accept the motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Motion is seconded. All in favor? Margaret French.
Aye,
Margaret French says aye. Steve Tripp.
Aye.
Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. Meeting is adjourned.
have a
good night,
Margaret.
everyone.
Good night,
Thank
Margaret. Margaret, any scuttlebutt down at the, Maritime Academy about this morning's accident?
No, I can't wait to go in to talk to my marine transportation people. Oh my God.
They had the news reporters down there at Mass